Okay. So first, thank you for letting me interview you. I know you have like a lot going on as a pastor on Sunday, but first, I'm interviewing you to kind of figure out more about public speaking in general, how to like communicate, and like I have some like nervous like public speaking stuff. So like probably hearing it from more of like a professional would be nice.
Yeah, I used to be super nervous too. I still get
Yeah.
nervous, so yeah, that's
But
normal.
yeah, but I kind of like to know like how the church like functions in general with communication and how like pastors use their abilities to like bring the church closer together.
Oh, wow, that's such a great question. Okay, so I'll talk about the pastor using like our voice to bring the. Okay, this is great. And if I go off
No, yeah.
script, let me know or what you're looking for. I actually took a class after I graduated seminary, just an online kind of 6-week thing, but it was talking about. I wish remember the name of the class exactly, but it basically was about how we use our public voice as like a way to proclaim, like not just from the pulpit or up front, but how we speak on behalf of God and the church and faith communities, in general. And it was really cool just to think about the ways that we can do it online or we do it face to face. And I think I liked that because so much of what we do is preaching. I mean, like I write a sermon every week and I preach that sermon every week. I think how it functions in terms of like bringing the church together is, and that's why for us here, because we have two pastors who preach every week, which is not, I don't love that honestly, because it's great because I love that I get to do it, but you want there to be a unified voice.
Yes.
And so David and I work closely together to make sure that like we know what each other is talking about, because our theology is very, in line, and he's not preaching something that I wouldn't preach, but it can start to kind of like what direction is the church going if we're preaching about two very different things. And so he's preaching right now about outreach and how we take the faith of and the joy of Easter and like we live that out in the community. And my focus during this Eastertide season was more on like I look at the politics that were happening in January and February and the politics that are still happening, and the fact that like even if you don't have a mental health diagnosis, like the world is a hard place to be in, life is difficult, and so how do we not like rise above that and pretend like it's not a problem, but like find God in the midst of that and realize that God is with us even on the worst days when we just cannot get out of bed or whatever. So those are talking together in terms of like tending ourselves in here and also like looking out to the world, but that's part of it too. So I think for me how it functions is I know people and relationship is really important to me, and I want to know who's in the church and what their life is like. And so then as I'm reading scripture and as I'm kind of just meditating on what do I feel like God is saying to me based on what I know about Haley, what do I know about Mike and Lori and Russell and whoever, like how do I say what are these people needing, like what might God have to say to them? And so that's part of it, is how I think there's something about this is the one time of the week that we come together, and if the pastor is preaching a word that helps us kind of ground ourselves and come back to kind of a focus, then we can go about our week kind of all meditating on that and holding on to that. Now you asked, there's a first part of that question. What was the first part of it? I rambled about the second part mostly.
You answered a lot of it. It started like how's the church like function with communication in general?
Oh, yeah. Well, and okay, so I would say like, on like a real practical level, we have a newsletter, we have a website,
Yes.
we have these things, like and we're actually getting ready to like revamp our whole website and make like whatever I say up here and whatever comes in our print stuff and whatever's on our website, like all be the same. So there's going to be some great alignment coming there. But I also think how the church like generally communicates is like we kind of represent, like I think about like capital C church, right? Like we are people look to us to say, okay, like what does religion have to say about this? What does religion have to say about that? Like what does God think about me, right? If I'm depressed or if I'm gay or if I'm a kid or if I'm sick, like people look to the church as a light or a piece of truth or some, representative of God. And so when you say how we do that comes in lots of ways, but I think that's like part of what our function of communication is. Does that answer that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I thought I could get into some nitty gritty, but
no, that's
because we do communicate it through our service and through the mission work that we do, all of that. But when I think about just like when I get up and talk, it's like people might listen to this and they might actually they might actually listen to what I'm saying, and what do they hear of God in that, So yeah, these are great questions and I ramble a lot.
No, you're good. It's good. So I've heard from like family members, and I'm not in like your services a lot, but like I hear about what you say a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
And I heard like whenever you like start I think was like a couple years ago or like a year ago, like when you started in PUMC.
Oh, I've been here almost 3 years.
3 years, wow.
It'll be 3 years in July.
Nice.
Yeah, time flies, Haley.
I'm about to say, wow. So I've heard of some of your like various past jobs, like something with like Smokey the Bear.
Oh,
and like how that's kind of like still communicating and stuff with like crowds.
Yeah. So that was I love that. That was the most fun part of that job. So I had my first job out of college I was a news reporter, so communication, but not public speaking, right? I was writing about it, but I did this kind of work. I would go and interview people, and then I would go write my story. I loved that job. It was a great first job out of college, but I knew I just wasn't going to be forever, probably, and I knew I had a call to ministry, so whatever. But I actually quit that job, and then I packed up my car and I drove out to Oregon, and I worked in Oregon on Mount Hood, and I was an AmeriCorps volunteer, so I got like a stipend. Like it wasn't a job; it was a year-long thing, but it was like I was a liaison between. I was a liaison between the Forest Service, so the U.S. Forest Service, and then the community where I lived. So I would do a lot of if there was like a festival of the forest, I would have a booth and I would be telling people about what they could do on the forest. One of the things I got to do, I didn't have to, but I got to do, was I worked in campgrounds, and I would drive around on the golf cart with Smokey Bear, and we would go do these little interpretive talks at the campsites or the campground, like the amphitheater, kind of just educational things. So that's that's one thing that I did, and there was public speaking involved in that. So that really was the first time I did a lot of, and I would go teach in schools and that just lessons, one-off things. But yeah, that was really when my formal public speaking career started, I guess, if you want to think of it that way. So yeah, you caught it. That was good. You caught that.
It's always been in my head that's a really nice job.
It was super fun. Yeah. Well, there was one time when I had a preschool who wanted Smokey Bear to come, which was great. We talked about fires and don't play with matches. But when this huge stuffed bear walks in, 2-year-olds are screaming, they're scared, right? Not all of them, but some of them were not loving it. I was like, okay, note to self, next time a preschool asks me, I'll say, are you sure? Because this bear is 7 feet tall and your kids might not like this.
Oh gosh.
So it was a learning experience, but anyway, it was mostly fun.
And
I will never forget that. It was terrible. I felt so bad. Live and learn.
And this next one is still based on communication, but a little more personal, pastoral note.
Yeah.
What do you believe is the most overlooked part of being a pastor? Some people believe just about on Sunday they'd speak and then they go home.
Yeah.
That's not it.
Yeah, that's not it. That's not all it is. The most overlooked part of being a pastor?
Because I know you do a lot to set up and and then speak.
There's so much. Yeah. This is a really great question. Well, I think this is what's on my heart, I guess, right now in terms of what's overlooked is our spiritual life.
Yes. Yeah.
It's kind of what I was talking about in my sermon today, where it's it's so easy to just go and be, I gotta lead a meeting and we want to do a thing, and there's all this outward looking stuff that it's my job though is to be close to God, and so I think that part can be overlooked. Is that I think people would assume, oh well, you just know all the Bible and you have time to read every day, and it's I need to do better at that. So I don't know if it's the most overlooked part, but I think it's the part that can be. I don't think people would realize how easy it is for that to get pushed to the side because there are so many demands and people need so much and you want to do so much. So I think that would be that's my answer, I think.
Nice. And I know, like, traditionally, like, I think, like, Methodist churches are better at this, but, like, more traditional, like, congregations are more set on, like, male voices and, like, professional, like, I don't know, like, yeah, just professionalism in general. They don't believe, like, females have, like, that voice or something. Like, do you believe that's ever been, like, a setback for you at all?
Ooh, I'll say this. I have not personally experienced
Yes.
people who have been like negative to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, there definitely is like a sense of like, I mean,
Yeah. Like, authority, kind of.
well, I mean, even like when I am like in public with my husband, who is also a pastor, sometimes people will like talk to him and not me.
Oh.
I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah, I
It
get
happens here. Like, it happens here. Like, if we're here together, oh, it's like, well, I was actually trying to talk to you. Like, I think that can be hard sometimes, is
Yeah.
that, and so that's what I mean. Like, no one's ever been just like, well, you can't do this. I've been very supported.
That's great.
But I think there is like a general sense of like, I don't know that everybody takes me as seriously. I don't know that I don't know. I think and that could just be a perception that I have, but sometimes I feel like, oh, I'm just invisible. Like that can happen sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm lucky. I've never just been like, we don't want you, or you can't do this.
yes.
I mean, it's never been like blatant like that.
Yeah,
So.
like I've been in like Lutheran settings and Methodist settings, and like completely drastic about that. That's why I was like mostly curious.
Yeah. What was the experience that you had in the Lutheran setting?
Lutheranism, like, I went to a Lutheran church for like all my middle school years.
Okay.
And they would say, like, it wouldn't be like damnation, but it just wouldn't be as like important.
Oh.
And like,
okay.
and like we would have like obviously like all male pastors, and like their wives would like help them, but they would never like speak. Like they didn't have like the authority.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I know like Methodism is more like warm about that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You're good. And then kind of like you kind of answered this. You had like classes about like communication and speaking.
Oh yeah.
But where did you go for like post high school like education, like to get your stuff?
Okay, yeah. So I went to Purdue for my undergrad degree, and I was an organizational communication major. And I'm going to be honest with you, when I found out I had to take advanced public speaking as a core requirement, Haley, I panicked. I mean, because I was the kid who, like, I'd have my note cards for my book report.
That's what I do.
Right, and I'm like, it's right there, but my face is red, my throat is red, like, I'm sweating, I mean, it was, like, bad. And then I remember in that class, I'm still not good at math. Like, I will probably never memorize a sermon.
Sure.
If I had extra time and I really wanted to, I probably could. But I remember in that advanced public speaking class, which I thought I was going to hate, I don't even know what I was talking about, but I remember having this feeling of, oh, okay, like, when I know what I'm talking about, I can do this.
Yes.
Like, when I know, I got it. And I think part of that just came with like time and experience, but I went to Purdue for organizational communication, and then I went to IUPUI actually for my, I did a transition to teaching degree. So I already had an undergrad, but I wanted to be a teacher. So I actually got a second major. I had to finish my English, and I got an English major, and then I also got my secondary teaching license. And I mean, talk about public speaking. Like I did it all the time.
Yeah.
And I did that actually after my AmeriCorps. So I came home, did teaching, and then my call to ministry came right after that. Well, sort of after that. There was one more little blip in there of work, but, and then my other degree is in, well, it's a Master of Divinity. I guess it's not in anything. It's a Master of Divinity that I got when I was in Boston. So, yeah.
All right.
That's that.
We kind of touched on this a little bit, but like in my mind, there's probably more to it. I see like Plainfield United Methodist (PUMC) as like these like kind of like three communities in one. There's like the classical. There's like I consider this like modern.
Yeah.
And then there's like the youth group upstairs that I'm in.
Yes.
Do you have any plans on like mainly like verbally like how we can bring those like three communities together as a church?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you my dream.
Yes.
Do you want to hear my dream?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that it will ever happen while I'm here. And I don't even know that it's the right thing, because you would probably need someone to come in and like look at our attendance, look at our patterns, like we'd need somebody to kind of help inform this. But my vision, and I feel like God gave me this vision, so, whatever. Not to discount God, but like I would have to get some more information about this. What I would love to see is like an 8:45 service in there. then there'd be like a Sunday school hour at 10, and then 11 o'clock worship in here.
Okay.
And I don't know how that would impact. I mean, I never want the youth to not have their own thing.
Yes.
But I think it's a problem when we have 3 worshiping communities worshiping at the same time.
Yes.
I know that there is hesitancy, like that means we have to cut the 10 o'clock classic. We'd have to cut 10 o'clock here, and we'd have to go 8:45 and 11. And that would that would change life for a lot of people. So I don't even know if that's, like I said, I don't even know if that's the right thing. But what it would do is mean that nothing is happening simultaneously. So you could come for worship at the early hour and then go to Sunday school, or come to Sunday school and stay for that 11 o'clock worship. Now, you'd be getting out at noon, and that would change things. Yeah. But I think it would, like I have a friend who pastors a church in Carmel, and they did this like 3 years ago, and they've grown. And I'm like, why couldn't we do that? You know,
what are they doing?
And I think, and again, it's not like one size fits all. That maybe doesn't work for every church, which is why you'd want someone to kind of come in and give you some, like, data on this. But I just feel like, I don't know. I think people think that if you cut a service, it means, well, you're shrinking and you're just reducing. And I'm like, I don't actually think so. Like, this isn't full in here. It's not full down there. Like, we have room to grow in here. We have room to grow. So that's my, like, dirty little secret hope vision. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I would love to see it happen. So, yeah.
Then something else I had was, I came here during like 8:30 or so, earlier than like I ever really come here. And it was very nice to see, like, it was a little different, but like mainly everything's still the same. Like, do you think there's any like differences between how you like act or perform in like the more like classical morning service than this service?
Interesting. Well, yeah. I mean, yes, because I don't preach down there.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more of like a, hi, welcome. Hi. Like, I'm a little bit more of the welcome wagon, which is not that it's inauthentic to me. Like, I feel like I'm being myself.
Yeah.
But I don't have the preaching voice down there.
Okay, yeah.
And so I think that maybe, well, and it's a little more formal in there.
Yes.
Like I thought about, Rick Jones does the prayer, and he does the call to worship down there sometimes. He did that today. And I thought, man, he's so great. I'd love him to come down here. And I just thought it would hit different down here. Not bad, but I thought, like,
different.
It's just more formal down there, and we're a little less formal, and I don't know. But you asked about how I'm different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm probably a little more formal down here.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And it's also earlier, and so I'm still kind of warming up a little bit. So there's something to that. It is nice that I get to be in front of people before I come down here. So I've kind of already got my like sometimes I say a word that's weird, and like I literally almost said fart last week. I was trying to say participate, and some word that had an F, and I was like, I pulled it together, but I was like, I know what I was about to say, and I did not mean that. But it would have been bad at 8:45. So anyway, that's a great question.
So, kind of like along those lines, do you enjoy like the public speaking opportunities you have as like a church pastor?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do. There is a sense of, like I said, so much of this is like I'm in staff meetings and I'm doing chapel for the preschool. And I mean, that's a chance to be, kind of public speaking. Yeah. But so much of my work does really feel like it's, minus the preschool. I mean, that's more public. But yeah, I mean, like I love when like the kids have their like Christmas program, the preschool program. I love it. I get to come in and like the whole sanctuary is full, and I get to say we love your kids and we're so glad you're here, and let me pray for them. And like I love that I get to do that. I love that I get to stand up here and be like, Jesus loves you. Like, you're not perfect. This is great news, you know? Like, I love that. But it's just it's a little bit how I felt when I was teaching. Like, this is so cool. Let me tell you about it, you know? Not that you don't already know it, but let me remind you. So I think that gives me, I mean, it's terrifying sometimes of like, I am a voice for God. We all are, you know? But like, people are looking to me for something, and so it can be a little like, oh my God, but it's a joy. It's a real joy. It's a joy. These are great questions.
Just like a couple more.
No, this is great. I love this.
This is more like an informational question.
Okay.
How do you incorporate the audience here, and how do you kind of organize it for them, like what they kind of like give you like an analysis of what they think or like how they respond to things.
Oh,
yeah.
like feedback that I'm getting from them, you mean? Or
Yeah, do you ever use like in quotes like a use of evidence on like what they think? Like does it kind of like change how you say things?
Oh, interesting.
Like you, yeah.
That's a great question. I'm thinking about that feedback loop and communication. Yeah. You know, well, I will say this. This is a pretty quiet congregation in terms of, like, today. Like, maybe one person was like, that was good. Like, I don't get, oh, I really loved that.
Yeah.
Or, that bothered me. They don't give a lot of feedback here, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because I just do my thing, right? It's like, great, no one complained. I'll just keep going.
Great.
But sometimes it's like, is anybody listening? Did I really blow it this week? You know, like sometimes you want to hear like, good job. And I mean like probably a half dozen times people have said things. But yeah, it's so when I think about the feedback loop, well, I probably think more about, like I remember Darren Wright was here a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago at this point, and I had referenced some example of something that I did when I was in high school or college, and her mom had said, oh yeah, Darren was like, yeah, that's like the age I am right now. And so I think about I think about that kind of stuff, right? Where it's like, how can I speak to a wide age range? How do I make my own story relatable to somebody who's 15 or 90 or, you know, whatever. So I try to bring I guess the best way to answer that is the feedback I get is more like, tell your story, like talk about yourself, like be real. Like, so today I was just saying like, yeah, like I would love to be better at like just being randomly kind. Not that I'm unkind, but just what if I spent time like really reflecting on like, how could I just like really make somebody's day today? Like go out of my way and like, it wasn't necessary, just like, oh, like that's good, you know? And so to be honest about like, oh yeah, I'm not really doing that as much as I'd like to. Like that's one way to take some of the feedback I've gotten, but again, I don't hear a whole lot, so. Yeah. Oh. I'll put a little comment box. I'm sure then people, if you go anonymous,
exactly.
people, like look at like online, right? People will say anything.
Comments, yeah.
It's like, okay, great, you know. So it's like a little bit more of that, but not crazy.
So, yeah, you've already kind of established this, but I was gonna say like, what motivations or like caution could you have for like people pursuing like pastoral degrees?
Ooh.
Like anything to be kind of cautious about?
That's a great question. I mean, I think the motivation, this kind of ties it all together, I think.
Yeah.
I think the motivation is, Lord, I mean, I think it has to be to like glorify God, right? And so if I'm, you know, edifying, like building up the body, like it's an encouraging thing, you know, I think that's the motivation is to, these people are showing up here. They have gotten out of their beds. They have logged in online. They think God's going to be here, and God is going to be here. And so how do I help point to that? Like, I think of it as like this. Like, if you're looking at me and I'm like, look over there, that's Jesus. You know, it's like, don't look at me. Like, look where I'm pointing. You know, that's the motivation is, and then, oh, look, we're all here together. Cool. Isn't that great? Right. I think the caution in that is to not make it about yourself.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I think about some of the big mega church online evangelical whatever, and they're big personalities, and that's great, but I'm not here to be a personality. I'm here to point to the personality of Jesus, you know. So I think the other caution then is to narrowly interpret scripture in a way that is like, this is the only way you can think about it. I mean, I think there are better ways to interpret, right? But like, I'm not going to claim, I mean, every time we look at the scripture, open it up, log in online, like, I believe the Spirit is speaking. Mm-hmm. And so I could read the same passage I read yesterday and be like, ooh, there's a little something different today, you know? And so I have to be careful not to say, this is it. And I don't think that, but I want to make sure I don't communicate right or wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I don't know. I think I was always super afraid of like causing harm by what I said.
Yes.
And I have to realize like I will probably do that at some point, but I won't mean to. And so I can build upon the relationship that I have with people in order to be like, hey, I said this, but like let's look at it from a different way. I'm sorry or whatever, you know. And probably that won't happen too much during preaching, more like in interpersonal things or whatever. But I mean, that's still I'm the one wearing the collar, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like it's still like I never stop being this person, and so that I have to remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of did a presentation on that like just some weeks ago. And I think I said something that I kind of like grinned to myself. I was like, that's good. I said like sometimes like whenever people isolate themselves, they get on like social media and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I said like sometimes like the content creators, people focus more on the content creators than the creator himself.
Yes.
And that's something that they should definitely be cautious of. Yeah.
Yes. Ooh, yeah. That'll preach. We need to get you down here preaching. I mean, that's good. Yeah. Like, yeah, if we are looking to the people who are making this content, then like, yeah. We're missing some things. Yeah. This is so great. So what are you going to do with all this, you know, whatever I've just rambled on about? Do you have to write it up, or what do you have to do? Okay.
I'm gonna have like just like a little 2-page like double space. Like this is what I learned. This is how like I kind of evaluated everything. Had like a lot of fun with it.
Oh, good.
And yeah, I'm just gonna kind of report back, submit it.
Great. And they'll give you an A then, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Give her an A.
Yeah, it's worth like 140 points.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, I kind of hope I get a good grade.
You got this.
But yeah.
You got this. Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.
You're so welcome. I was gonna say we will, once you're done with things, like we will just go have some fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. So what a gift!
you.
Oh my gosh, Haley, you are so welcome. You are such a joy, and I want to hear more about your college plan and like what all you're going to be up to. But yeah, this is so fun.